In the wake of the monstrous sexual abuse accusations against Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein, many actresses started telling their stories, prompting the hashtag #MeToo campaign. It's taken off, and some journalists have taken off with it. Actress and activist Alyssa Milano tweeted this out Sunday afternoon, asking people to reply, "Me too," if you've been sexually harassed or assaulted.
What that enables us to do is say, no more. No more. We're not going to put up with this anymore.
Me Too has caught on, and while it's nonpartisan, it's a movement, making it dicey territory for female journalists. Still, many have weighed in, including NBC's Andrea Mitchell, who casually dropped the phrase into a speech this week. Some, though, like Seattle anchor Amity Adrisi, have made it more personal, telling viewers she was sexually assaulted at a young age.
This is the first time I've ever told my story on television, so why now? Because I think it's time to wipe away the glossy exterior. Anyone can be affected by sexual abuse, even a lady who brings you the news.
Which also makes her part of the news, and by extension, making her colleagues part of the news.
We are so proud of you.
Yeah.
We're so proud of you.
Meanwhile, since virtually every woman has experienced some sort of harassment, most female reporters have resisted speaking about it directly, as in the CBS Morning Team.
So many people have the opportunity now to share what they've been holding inside.
They felt so empowered by being able to say, "Me too."
But what I think is important, too, is for the men to speak up and say, this is not okay.
Sounds like what they want to say is, "Me too." I actually respect and appreciated the fact that the three women from the CBS Morning News didn't add on to it. I mean, it's not that there's anything illegal about it. It's not you're violating some journalistic standard. But the minute you start doing that, you're making yourself the story. The story that the Seattle anchor Amity Adrisi told was quite long and complicated, and involved being assaulted by a cousin when she was 4 years old, which seems to me like it's widening this circle well beyond, I think, what it was originally intentioned with Me Too. I mean, most women, I say virtually every woman over a certain age has had some kind of harassment, be it verbal or a power smash, which is more often, or some kind of a sexual approach. And then that was pedophilia. I mean, I guess you can put it under the same umbrella, but it may be uncomfortable that she was making herself the story.
I thought long and hard before putting Me Too out there on social media.
Did you do it?
I did do it.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to do it where you're not bringing up your personal story and making it part of the story. I posted simply Me Too. I noted that there was a flood of Me Toos in my feed that morning, a small break and then another flood of them, and that all of us who are able to say Me Too are actually the ones who have a voice, and that there are millions and millions of others who don't. So that was it. I didn't share any personal details. The campaign was originally meant to show people who are unaware of the prevalence of the problem that it's a much, much bigger problem than they think. So it was triggered by Weinstein, but it wasn't just about actresses who have been assaulted.
Because it actually got going like 10 years ago, I think.
And it did. That's right. Yeah. But I think what's really interesting about it is a lot of people used it as a chance to kind of release whatever emotions they were holding in about it, which may be what some people needed, probably was very triggering for other people.
I guess I'm drawing the line at journalists.
I think it's important to note that that kind of harassment is about power, not necessarily about attraction, and it happens in journalism.
Yeah, and you know, I would say that in terms of journalists doing it, it's not a partisan issue. There isn't another side to sexual harassment. I don't see it as ideological. It really didn't bother me that female journalists do it.
Ideological undertow of this campaign?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't.
I think this existed long before
And
this
I will
campaign.
tell you that as a certified old guy, I found it to be enlightening, because if you had asked me before this campaign, I would have said I think sexual harassment is a big problem, underreported, huge, and yet the Me Too campaign has convinced me that even though I would have used words like that, it's much bigger than I had even realized. And I think a lot of men, I would count myself among them, are thinking, if we find ourselves in a situation in the future where we're seeing this happen, we're hearing this happen, we can't let it slide. We've got to say something and speak up. And I think that that's been very useful for all of us.
Go ahead.
what is the ideological
I know you're going to press
element? Well, we talked about this before the show.
I feel like there's a liberal undertow. I mean, that's because it's directed at Trump. And the bottom line is it all comes back to Trump.
It's not directed at Trump, though.
But this was triggered by
I know,
a big liberal Democrat.
Big liberal
but
Democrat.
Trump is the molester-in-chief.
Well, I think Trump was, again, a focal point during his campaign, and maybe the Access Hollywood tape, maybe the accusations against him kind of make this seem a much more current event. Keep in mind, this was a big thing during the Clinton era, too. I mean, and during the debates.
And you didn't see it then because it was Clinton.
Because people assume that this is normal. Society's changing. All the people who are accused of this kind of thing now, who are being kind of crucified for it, you've got Cosby, you've got Weinstein, you've got... The list goes on and on and on. They're all O'Reilly, exactly. They're from an age where this was considered acceptable or at least ignorable, and that age has changed. And I think that's what you're seeing now.
I would just add that we live in an era where, first of all, the confessional is ordinary. It's an accepted part of the culture, and many journalists are as much celebrities as they are journalists. You see, Robin Roberts with her, I believe it was a cancer struggle, very public with a Kelly.
I feel the same way about all that.
Kelly Tuthill at Channel 5. So you see that quite often. That makes you uncomfortable also.
Yeah, Katie Couric with her husband having a public colonoscopy.
I don't know. If you can use your celebrity to shed light on something that helps people, why not?
Refresh my memory. When Lara Logan was assaulted in Tahrir Square, she discussed what happened to her.
Yes,
then,
finally
right?
she did with Scott Pelley.
So I'm not sure what is different about her sharing what she experienced in, sort of intense
that was a very public event.
Very upsetting
Everybody
detail.
knew what happened. She
true.
had the guts to then go into the details.
Well, this is true, because there again, you have a journalist who is enhancing the degree to which they are part of the story. So,
but this was a mob of, it was completely different.
No, I'm not saying that her experience of being assaulted was fundamentally different. What I'm saying is she became the story.
Yeah, but
in
not
that case,
by her own doing.
Well, she gave the interview.
No, but these women, she gave the interview, exactly.
Right.
She chose to share.
She was on the story, but she was covering a different story when this happened and became the story.
Right. But then she chose.
We're talking about two different things.
We are talking about two. Then she chose to discuss it in a journalistic.
Months later, she felt like she had to just tell what happened.
I think a lot of people right now feel like they have to.
She didn't have to bring that up. I don't know. That happened when she was 4 years old.
One other thing that I would mention,
and it wasn't public.
I can imagine some people, maybe Emily, saying, "Well, what if a journalist who has said that this happened to them then has to go cover a trial involving sexual assault?" To my mind, they have provided valuable disclosure that wouldn't have been provided otherwise. So,
I'm mostly in the camp of just let it all rip, and I just say there's an uneasiness about sharing that kind of stuff.